my name's Amanda Easton. I'm a performer, singer-songwriter from Sydney, Australia. I make retro-inspired, theatrical, electronic pop. But when I'm not doing my own music, I do
cabaret,
cover band gigs, solo gigs, tribute shows, recording sessions. Welcome to my Circle of Light vlog.
And I'll be watching you.
Hello, how are you? Welcome to St. Patrick's Day in Australia. And I guess it's St. Patrick's Day for most people tomorrow, unless you're in Australia as well. Hello, Wayne. Hi, Sydney. Hi, Larry. How are you all going? My session went very well yesterday, thank you. Hi, Alan. Nice to see you all. Yes, I apologise for having to change the time. It's going to happen from time to time, I guess. Usually Tuesday morning is pretty safe, but of course with recording sessions, they can happen anytime. Hi, Stu. How are you going? Hello, Lou. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Aussies. And Irish people, of course. I have some Irish blood, so I feel guilty. Hi, Dave. How are you? Eric, how are you? Yes, and we're in the 60s today. So I'm going to pull out some 1960s tunes. And good morning from Germany. Good morning to Germany, Barbara. Lovely to see you as well. Let me see. What have I been doing lately? I went away for a girls' weekend. How is that? A whole lot of mums and I went down to Kiama. You might have seen some pictures on my page of some lovely beach areas. Ralph, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm feeling guilty. I should have learnt Danny Boy, shouldn't I? Oh, my goodness, so bad. I got to say, St. Patrick's Day kind of snuck up on me, even though, Sydney, you reminded me. I kind of forgot again. So I'll have to do that next time. Because, you know, that's a bit of a classic, isn't it? But yeah, I went away for the weekend down to Kiama, which is a couple of hours down the coast here from Sydney, with a whole lot of mums, obviously without the kids and the husbands and everything else. So, you know, we went to the beach and we ate and we drank a lot. But I did a couple of gigs before I left, and then on the way home, about an hour out of Sydney, I had a Blondie versus Pretenders gig down at Beaches in Thirroul, which was on. Hi, Denise, how are you? Lovely to see you. And so I did a big gig after a big weekend. Kevin, good morning. You did remind me, Sydney. It was a little while ago now, but I remember. I remember, but then I forgot again. Such is the nature of my brain. But so I did the gig on Sunday night after a big weekend away, and then I went straight into a rehearsal the next morning at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock on a Monday is just torture for a singer, especially after a big weekend and a whole lot of singing. It's difficult enough on, 11 o'clock on a Tuesday to get the voice happening, and I always warm up, but it still doesn't really come out 100%. Eric, we're an hour closer. We are. Huh? One heck of an earthquake. Either daylight savings time or one heck of an earthquake. The trouble is, hi, Grace from the Philippines. Japan, sorry, originally from the Philippines, but now from Japan. Lovely to see you. We have the world here again, which is fantastic. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too. We are an hour closer, Eric, but the thing is we're moving soon. In a couple of weeks, we're going backwards an hour. So I think it means we kind of vaguely stay the same distance again. But I tell you what, this, time changing confuses me at the best of times. So I'm going to stick to 11 o'clock Australian time. But we go in Australia from Australian Eastern Daylight Time to just Australian Eastern time, I think. I'm probably wrong, but hopefully Facebook will help us out on the event and actually give you your local time as far as these live streams are concerned. So I wanted to do a few different things from the 60s. Obviously, the 60s is way before any of our time that are here, but the way I mainly discovered moved to Arizona, you don't mess with the clocks. That's right. That's smart. Much easier to remember. Eastern Standard Time, thank you, Stu. So we go from Australian Eastern Daylight Time to Australian Eastern Standard Time. They spell Eastern wrong. It should be Easton, obviously. Never name a time zone after me. It'll just go wrong. But, I wanted to go a little bit all over the 60s because the way I mainly discovered the 60s is partly through my parents and, them playing music when I was growing up. And, of course, 60s stuff is still all over the radio in certain stations. So it's the kind of music you just hear and it just becomes part of your head, whether you even, thought you knew it or not. And I always loved Motown. And I'm not going to do any Motown because it's just impossible for me to play it on the piano, and also you're missing all the harmonies and all the wonderful rhythms that you get as well. Dear Prudence, you know what? I know the song to listen to, Stu, but I've never sung it, but I do love it. Obviously, there's a few different versions of it, and I really do love that song. But sorry I haven't learnt it for today. It'll have to be one that I add, though, because I love the song. There's a really good rock version of it. And I'm trying to think who did that. I'm thinking Susie and the Banshees. And from memory, that's the first version that I heard. And then I kind of went backwards to the original. But probably about, 15 years ago, To Sir With Love. I am doing To Sir With Love, John. Hail from Kansas. Hello to Kansas. I think actually Denis requested that last week, and I thought, yes, that's a great song to add. And so I am doing that today. You think I have the right accent for it. Lulu, what nationality was she? She was British, wasn't she? And there's that great movie that I ended up looking up after I discovered the song, which must be a 1960-something movie as well, To Sir With Love, which is a great movie. Yes, we in Australia, for those who might not have heard, have lost one of our great singers, and it was really quite sudden. He had a heart attack. He had gigs planned this weekend. His name was Doug Parkinson, hugely well-respected, fantastic singer. I didn't ever have the pleasure of meeting him, but I certainly saw him sing, and one of those really big powerhouse voices, and everyone said he was just a fabulous man. In fact, my friend Joe Elms was one of his backing singers and was meant to be doing a gig with him this Saturday. So that's very sad. And did he do Dear Prudence, Stu? Maybe he did. He did a lot of really well-known songs. And, yeah, look him up, Doug Parkinson, just a really great, great singer. And it was very sad. It was very sudden. Lulu was Scottish. There you go. Another Scot. I claim a little bit of Scottish heritage, which is where, of course, the Easton surname comes from, like Sheena. And actually, I also, probably like a lot of Australians, I have some Scottish, some Irish, some French, some Welsh, English, of course. And there is the rumour that there is some Indonesian in our blood. I don't know if I look very Asian, if you can see any Asian features, but we do have some Asian physical characteristics in our line. And people think, because we probably also had some Dutch heritage, that maybe when the Dutch colonised Indonesia, that we may have a little bit of a Indonesian blood in there. So who knows? That is his most famous song. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. I knew the Susie and the Banshees version first. But when I discovered 60s music properly, apart from the stuff that just got into my head through radio and, general stuff that's played on TV and things, was when I did a show with the late, great, another singer we lost not long ago, Damien Lovelock. Do I have any German? Probably. I think I'm a bit of a mongrel, a bit of a mix of everything. Is that a rude word to say? I think it's okay if you say it about yourself. But I worked with Damien Lovelock, who anybody that knows anything about punk music will know him. He was the lead singer of the Celibate Rifles, which was Australia's biggest punk band, but also did very well internationally and very highly respected. And Damien, was also a TV commentator on the soccer on SBS TV. Ha 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 ha, Sydney, that's very funny. And he also had a radio show. He was an absolute personality. He wrote books, all sorts of things. And we lost him, unfortunately, a couple of years ago now. But I worked with him for a lot of years, and it was quite funny. It was like someone called us the princess and the punk. Because, you know, here I am doing all this kind of pop stuff, and he's this rah, 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 punk singer. And we kind of shouldn't have got along. And, you know, musically, we came from such different places, but we were such good friends, and it was a wonderful relationship. And he taught me a lot about music. He knew everything about music. The guy didn't even have the internet. Didn't even have the internet on his phone. One day, not long before he died, so only a couple of years ago, we were at rehearsal and he showed me his phone. He had a smartphone and he said, somebody told me you can get maps on your phone to show you where you're going. Yeah, and the GPS, and he's like, what? No one ever told me. So there you go. He really wasn't a tech person, but he had Wikipedia in his brain. He knew everything about music. He just was such he was a man who was so passionate about music, and his father was quite a famous British, actually. He's got British heritage, British songwriter. And he taught me a lot about music. And the kind of 60s stuff I learned from him was probably more about rock, stuff like, I mean, of course I knew who Janis Joplin was, but I learned a lot more about Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, who I only maybe had vaguely heard of before, that Laura Nyro, oh my goodness, the list goes on. A whole lot of songwriters and bands that I didn't really knew. I still haven't seen that movie, David, Ladies in Black, but it's on the list. I want to see it. But he was really good at picking songs he thought would suit me. Because I didn't know a lot of this older, especially really rock material that we were doing in shows, he would just say, I think this will suit you. And at first listen, I'd go, what? And then I'd get into it and I'd realise he was right. You know, this is stuff that I love and stuff that I think did end up suiting me. So I'm going to start with one of those songs. And actually I'm going to be performing this much better than I'm going to be performing it today, sorry to say, but I will have one of Australia's best guitarists with me on the weekend, and bands in general. So I'm doing the Monterey show, the Monterey Festival, and I hadn't even heard of the Monterey Pop Festival before I heard about it through Damo either. And of course I'd heard of Woodstock, but I'm sure I know a lot of people here are very musically educated, so I probably don't have to tell you. But the Monterey Pop Music Festival was one of the first music festivals of its kind that mixed a whole lot of different contemporary kind of acts. It was in 1967, and it kind of ushered in the Summer of Love. And it was because of Monterey that really Woodstock happened, and Woodstock ended up being the one that I guess is a lot more famous. But people like Hendrix and Joplin and even Jefferson Airplane and a whole, you know, Otis Redding, even a whole lot of other artists became well known outside their regions pretty much through Monterey. And of course there was the film, like a documentary, just like there was with Woodstock as well. Want me to tell you about them? Sit down, young'un. I'm sitting down. You can tell me. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this song, which is a bit crazy, and I fell so much in love with this song that I'd never heard before. Damo introduced it to me, and it's got my name all over it. I'm sorry. It was written for me. You know, Jefferson Airplane didn't know that. Grace Slick didn't know that. She thinks it's her song. I'm sorry, baby. It's my song. And I read a little bit about it. You know, there may have been some illegal drugs involved, just a little bit in probably most of the songs that were written in the 60s, but I think particularly this song. And Grace Slick said she was listening to, Sketches of Spain, Miles Davis, on a loop over and over and over and over when she wrote this. But she was obviously thinking about Alice in Wonderland. And that's what this song, White Rabbit, is about. But I fell so much in love with this song when I first did it that I just wanted to sing it everywhere. And I probably sang it in places where it wasn't really appropriate, including like a senior's day. And I got a chart made and everything, and I gave it to the band, like the house band, when I got there, and they're like, oh, I don't think you should do this song. Oh, why not? Oh, it's just no one will know it and it's not very appropriate. It's about drug use. And I'm like, well, and I did it anyway. I thought it went over well, and I prefaced it with saying, hi, everybody, I hope you don't mind. You know, I did a whole lot of songs that they knew first. And then I said, this is one of my favourite songs. It's from the 1960s. You may not know it, but it's a little bit strange and it's really melodramatic. And I thought, strange and melodramatic pretty much sums me up. So this song seems to be perfect. And people came up to me later and said that they really enjoyed it. So sometimes you just got it. Not church services, no. I didn't sing it at church services, but I sang it at Seniors Day, which is like an entertainment day put on for maybe over 60s, or I'm not sure what the age group is exactly, but retirees basically. Exactly, Sydney. Seniors would love it. They lived it. It's the 1960s after all, I reckon. So this is the song White Rabbit. And I do apologise. I haven't kind of had a break from singing after the recording session and the rehearsal and the gig, so I'm probably sounding quite scratchy and husky, but then that may well suit this song. One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. And the one that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. And if you go chasing rabbits and you know you're gonna fall, tell them a hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the call. Call Alice when she was just small. When the men on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go, and you just had some kind of mushroom and your mind is moving low, go ask Alice. I think she'd know when logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead, and the white knight is talking backwards and the red queen's off with her head. Remember what the dormouse said. Feed your head, feed your head. Melodrama. Crystal Blue Persuasion. Oh, I don't know that. So it's a strange song, isn't it? I mean, everything about the song is strange. The words are strange. The, oh, you know it, Ralph. See, I knew you were cool. Oh, thank you, Sydney. He's saying, if your throat hurts, don't sing. My throat doesn't hurt. It's just so much that it's tired. So I might not hit the notes as cleanly as I'd like, especially at 11 a.m. in the morning, which is early for a singer. It takes a while for everything to kind of, get moving properly. But I just love that song and I always enjoy doing it. So I'm doing that song with a proper band this Friday at Camelot Lounge, Django Bar, in Marrickville, for those that are local. And there's we do a couple of Jefferson Airplane songs, some Janis Joplin, which I absolutely love. Hi, Robert, you know the song as well. See, you're all cool people, you know this song. So many people have gone, oh, nobody knows that song, don't do that. But if you don't know it, I hope I've introduced you to something interesting. Definitely check out the original, because with the guitars, there's actually no piano in it. The guitars and that bass line that, which has obviously been Miles Davis inspired. then, the original is fantastic. And Pink, the artist, pop artist Pink, actually did a cover of it as well, which I assume was for the Alice... Oops, I can turn that off now, sorry. The Alice in Wonderland movie. Some Amarula. I haven't got a sore throat. It's just a tired voice because it gets a little bit worn out. But Amarula, I will check that out anyway. That's right. You're quite right. Singing Janis Joplin songs when your voice is worn out actually is better. Totally, you want the husk and the whatever else. I haven't learnt any Janis songs on the piano though. They are so guitar-y and rocky that I think that would be a little bit tricky. But when I started working with Damien and we did this 60s show and I started really to delve into 60s music, I completely fell in love with it. And as well as the rock side, I love the pop side, the Dusty Springfield and the Motown and, the Petula Clark kind of pop stuff as well. Yeah, exactly. Any song based on Alice in Wonderland will always be out there anyway because that whole story is out there. And you don't realise, I think, when you're a kid, how out there it is. And you kind of go, there's references to that and I get it. But around this time that I started working with Damien and we were doing this 60s material, I was writing my EP Out of the Blue. And if you have seen the picture, actually the picture I used to promote this live stream today, and I'm wearing this kind of big beehive-y type retro wig and, very retro showgirl kind of outfit, that was all because I was so surrounded and inspired by 60s music at that time. So there's a couple of songs on that album that I think basically that EP is quite 60s inspired all up. But there's a couple of songs in particular that I think sound quite Motowny and 60s. And one of them is called Good Old Fashioned Heartache. And I'm going to actually play you a video of that. Part of the video is something that brings back a really nice memory for me. I actually crowdfunded, like I did Wallflower recently, I crowdfunded that EP. It's the first time I'd ever done anything like that before. And one of the rewards you could buy was you could actually come into the studio with me and sing some parts onto a song or do some percussion. And quite a few, obviously a lot of local people because it had to be local. It was nothing, no Zoom in those days. And so a whole lot of fantastic people that, I didn't even know all of them, came into the studio and sang some backing vocals and did some percussion on this particular song. And so part of the video, the second half of the video, is footage from that. So I hope you enjoy this song, Good Old Fashioned Heartache. Hooker Caterpillar, that's even better. Hooker Smoking Caterpillar is the original lyric, of course. Okay, this is Good Old Fashioned Heartache from Out of the Blue. Oops. Come on.
Is this how it goes in love's final throes? Getting your hair cut and buying new clothes. Are those things for me, or could they be our love affairs debris? Good old-fashioned heartache, missed calls and mistakes. Now we're back where we started. Good old-fashioned heartache.
So that was Good Old Fashioned Heartache, which is a song from my EP Out of the Blue. And who have I missed coming by? Grant, how are you? Duncan, you are actually living in Ireland, so I can't even imagine how big St. Patrick's Day must normally get. I'm sure it's probably not quite the same this year, but I'm sure people are still celebrating just in a different way. And Denise is coming from Quebec, French Canada. Very lovely. It's a place I need to get to. Same with Ireland. I need to get there too. And to answer your question, Sydney, all those people in the video are people that bought rewards in my crowdfunding campaign in order to be part of the recording of that song. So some of them were friends, people I already knew, and other people were kind of, friends of friends or people that discovered the music that I hadn't met before. And so just a really disparate group of people all came together in the studio. One of those people was my producer there as well. And if you listened, to the end of that song, you would hear quite a lot of voices and bomb, 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 bomb. That's the part that those guests did on the song, as well as some of the percussion. So it felt like such a wonderful experience to have people come in, and they got a thrill out of being in a really great studio and joining onto a song. And I got a thrill out of having people care enough to be part of it. So, win-win. And then when I actually did the physical launch, the live concert launch, I invited them all along, of course. And those who weren't too shy got up on stage and sung the Bomb Bomb Bombs live on stage. And, of course, these are people that generally didn't perform and weren't professional musicians. They're just interested in music. So they loved that experience as well. So it was fantastic. Oh, you're welcome, Duncan. Okay, I'm going to have to check out your blog. You've obviously written something about St. Patrick's Day, so we can all check that out. I will have a look a little bit later. Thank you, Ralph. So obviously that's not a 60s song exactly that I just played, but, because I've called it Good Old Fashioned Heartache, I thought it fitted in a retro time, and you can hear probably the arrangement of the song is quite 60s. And no, Cub Calloway is not related to Cab Calloway. Hard to get your mouth around that. But obviously that's why they call him Cub, because his real name is Bruce Calloway. And for those of you who haven't seen that name before, Cub Calloway, the Australian, not the Cab Calloway jazz musician, is the guy who mastered and mixed a lot of my current album Wallflower, and I actually met him through Damien Lovelock, and he was in a very famous Australian band called The Saints. He was the guitarist, and he did a lot of mixing and producing, including for Rick Springfield. So I am absolutely honoured to have him as part of my album. And, that's good. Hi, Duncan's daughter. Nice to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you know what I mean. I hope you're having a fun St. Patrick's Day. But, Cub mixed a lot of the songs on my album and mastered it as well. And we kind of did a contra deal. He's got a band called Cub Calloway and the Revolutionaries, which is a kind of a punky, poppy, more punk. It's difficult to categorize. Great stuff. And I've done the backing vocals. So we've done a nice Freya. I love that name. I actually have another friend called Freya. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, because I know some Irish names look very different to the way they're pronounced, and we silly Aussies don't always get it right. So I think it's Freya. I hope so. Beautiful name anyway. I'm going to do another song from the 60s now that I think is just the cutest. It is the daughter of a very famous crooner, so I'm sure you know straight away who I'm talking about. She had a couple of hits, but this was her biggest. And I guess when your dad is one of the most world-famous, successful, popular singers, you have access to all sorts of songwriters and bands, because it's not a song. I think in the 60s, people often didn't write their own material. The people that were writers were quite separate to the people that were performers. And it's certainly not the case nowadays. It's difficult to be what they call a naked songwriter. And a naked songwriter is somebody who doesn't sing their own material. And it's probably even more difficult to be a naked singer. Which means that you don't write your own material, because a singer that sings and performs has cut off a lot of their income streams if they have to give away their songwriting royalties. Boots, you've got it, Grant. exactly. It's about the boots. And this is the song. I've told this story before, but I was learning this song in the car, where I learn all my songs basically. And my little son, who by the way was in that video, did you see the two little boys at the piano? The one closest to the camera was my little Joey. He's not so little anymore. But he was listening to the song. He said, "Mum, why are the shoes so angry?" And so that opened up a whole discussion about love. And, even though he won't admit it, I think he's just starting to get interested in girls. They were made for walking, Sydney. So I can't resist it. It's kind of cheesy and cute, but,
You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess, you've been missing where you shouldn't have been missing, and now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. You keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep a-seeming when you ought to be a-changing. What's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boats are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. You keep playing where you shouldn't be playing. You keep thinking that you'll never get burned. Well, I've just found me a brand new box of matches, and what he knows you ain't had time to learn. These boats are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Come on, boots. Let's go a-walking. Hey, hi TMC from YouTube. Well, I know you're not from YouTube, but I can see you from YouTube, and it's really lovely to see you. And Mazzy, my girl Mazzy from WA now. She's moved to Western Australia, the other end of the country away from us, and we miss her terribly. But good to see that she's doing so well. Yes, Lee Hazelwood wrote Boots. Oh, I didn't know that he didn't want Nancy to do the single, but Dad overruled him. Well, when you've got a dad that powerful, I am not surprised at all. Now, this next song, this is shout out from the UK. I hope you were doing well. I know things are a little bit tricky, but, with the vaccine coming in, hopefully things will improve and you'll all be able to get out and about more. Turn off the reverb, Amanda. Sounds like you're singing in a cave, talking in a cave, I know. Now, you might know that I work at the Star Casino, once a week-ish, and it's not something I want to take for granted and say, oh, yeah, I'm always there. Because, anything can happen and it could disappear in a heartbeat, and it's already disappeared when we had that little cluster of COVID cases around Christmas. It disappeared off the map for a couple of months. But it's here at the moment, and I'm there on Sunday. And one of our briefs is to, as much as possible, do requests when people ask for them. And, I've been singing for a long time, but the piano is still a relatively new instrument for me. So even though I could sing a lot of songs if I had accompaniment, to be able to play them on the spot is really tricky for me. And so I do my best. But what I do basically is keep my iPad linked up to the internet, and I just pull down a chart and I try and guess the key and then go for it. And I know, right, Sydney? So many people on this vlog really have great music history knowledge. It's fantastic. And all cool people, may I say, as well. But so sometimes I get some really weird requests. They're probably not weird. It's just unexpected. And I do my best. I can't 100% play everything that people ask. But if I've heard the song and I'm familiar with the melody, then usually I can give it a go. Thank you, TMC. And this was a song like that. And it's a song from the 60s. So I thought I'd do it for you. The only time I've ever performed it is at the casino because, one of the regulars asked me and I kind of gave them a face and went, oh, I've heard that song before. I should be able to give it a go. So I'm going to give it a go now. And you'll know it. For sure you'll know it. If I'd heard it before, you definitely will know it. I'm sure you can tell me who wrote it. And you also know it's from a movie. It's got the same title as the movie. Anyway, it's, yeah, I like it. I like the song. It's probably not very cool, but then neither am I. Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free as beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at a star. Stay free where no walls divide you. You're free as a roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Born free, and life is worth living, but only worth living 'cause you're born free. Free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free as beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at a star. Stay free where no walls divide you. You're free as a roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Born free, and life was worth living, but only worth living 'cause you're born free. Oh, do you remember that song? Oh, thank you, TMC. I'm sure I saw the movie when I was a little kid, and, I'm a massive animal lover. So that's what I remember. And I think that's probably the only time I ever actually heard the song, but it's, very familiar. And obviously, it's all about the lions, right? It's been a long time. But I just really love the song, and I think it's probably very daggy, but that suits me. And interestingly enough, I had a review of my album Wallflower, which is out now on Bandcamp, iTunes, everywhere. And reviews have been coming in over the last few months and they've been pretty positive, so that's good. And I actually loved the review. I say today's, I only saw it today and I posted it on the page if you want to check it out. But he calls me a jazz chanteuse, or chanteuse, whichever way you want to pronounce it, which I don't consider myself a jazz singer, but I know I have leanings of jazz. But he says some really nice things, but then at one stage, I still took it as a compliment even though it wasn't. He said, the last few songs on the album, and for those who have it, Overcome is the last song, Don't Forget You Love Me, and I can't remember the last one because, I only spent the whole last year writing it and recording it, and I can't remember what the third last song is. Anyway, whatever those songs were, he said they border on music theatre. That's not an insult. And hi, Paul, how are you? Oh, I love Kate Bush, and I've had requests for Kate Bush before, and I'm sorry I don't know that one yet, but it's definitely on the list. The Man with the Child in His Eyes and Wuthering Heights, I'm learning. I promise I will do them. I know I've been saying it for ages, but things have got really busy, so it's been hard to learn, songs from scratch because it does take a little while, especially to get Kate Bush songs right because they're so bloody good. But yes, I will. And so he said, some things are a bit music theatre and cabaret turned pop. And he said, depending on where you sit on the cheeseometer or cheesometer, you might pronounce it, cheeseometer, depends whether you like them or not. And so what he was trying to say is they're a little bit daggy, those ones. But, you might like that. And I'm totally into cheese. I mean, who doesn't want to eat cheese, right? It adds flavour and goodness, fatty goodness to everything. And so if he's saying my songs are flavoursome and fatty goodness, then that's okay with me. And I am a proud dag, as many of you will know. And I love all kinds of music. Look, he also likened my music to Portishead and Goldfrapp, which are two of the coolest bands on the planet. So if I'm a mix, thank you, Duncan. I took it as a positive. If he wants to liken me to those kind of bands and then say some of my stuff's a little bit music theatre cabaret, that's fine. I love music theatre and cabaret. It's like Barbara Streisand and all that kind of stuff. I know there's elements of that in my stuff, and that's good. I think it's good. You're not a fan of diaries, Sydney? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know it doesn't agree with everybody, but I think you still like to say something's cheesy. Look, it's a hard one. I tend to think people that are a bit too school for cool, a bit too cool for school, will say something's cheesy. It's as if it's almost too accessible. And I think music is supposed to be accessible, so I don't have a problem with that at all. I've found lately a couple of the critics have said things in their critiques that they consider insulting that I've gone, yes, that's true. Just own it, I reckon, whatever you are. When I was younger, I think I wanted to be cool. Then I realised, I don't have it in me and I'm just going to be myself, which is cooler in the end, right? When we're all just ourselves. So this song could be quite high on the cheesometer as well, but I still love it. I discovered this song actually when it was performed by a very cool band called Veruca Salt, who are, kind of alternative rock. And Pete, where's the note from your mum? That's okay. You're allowed to be late. It's nice to see you. Yeah, that's right. Weird Al made a whole career on cheesy. Many people did. I like that, Duncan. I love that pronunciation much better than the way I'd say it. Yeah, cheese and Branston pickle on a sarnie. Absolutely. Yes, please, everybody. But this next song you could consider high on the cheesometer as well. But Veruca Salt, a very, very cool alternative rock band, did a version of it. So, even though Skeeter Davis probably did the most famous version, she didn't write it. I think, again, it was the case of being written by songwriters and then given to different performers. Craig, that's okay. You're forgiven. It's just nice to see you. This is a song that I've performed before. It is one of my favourites, and I am apologising in advance. I have done a lot of singing in a lot of days in a row, so if I sound a little bit husky and I miss a few notes, please forgive me. Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea rush to shore? Don't they know it's the end of the world? 'Cause you don't love me anymore. Why do the birds go on singing? Why do the stars glow above? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when I lost your love. I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand, no, I can't understand how life goes on the way it does. Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. There you go. Hey, Paul, you've seen Goldfrapp. I've seen Goldfrapp live quite a few times too, and they are... Turn off the reverb, Amanda. They are brilliant. I've seen them in the US and I've seen them at the Opera House here, and then another time more recently at a smaller festival. Yeah, absolutely love them. And Denis, it was you that requested... what's the song called? Just So With Love, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was you. Anyway, this is it. I haven't played it before, so let's see how I go. I am a fan of this song. From Lulu, of course. Sometimes you just only need one name. Those schoolgirl days of telling tales and biting nails are gone, but in my mind I know that they will still live on and on. But how do you thank someone who has taken you from crayons to perfume? It isn't easy, but I'll try. If you wanted the sky, I would run across the sky in letters that would soar 1,000 feet high, to serve with love. The time has come for clothes and books, and long lost looks must end. And as I live, I know that I am living my best friend. A friend who taught me right from wrong and weak from strong. That's a lot to learn. What can I give you in return? If you wanted the moon, I would try to make a star, but I would rather you let me give my heart to serve with love. I know a lot of people have sung that song before. I'm sorry, it's the first time I've done it, so it's a little bit shaky, but I do love that song. It's, I mean, especially if you see the movie and you start to, you know, join it up with the story as well, it kind of becomes even more special, I think. But with me, the whole 60s thing became really important because I did that series of tribute shows that I was telling you about before. And then obviously I wrote the album that was quite heavily inspired by the 60s in the end, even though the production was modern and, you know, I think they still sounded like more current songs. There was definitely a throwback element. But then I also, when I did the launch of that I was telling you about when I had the guests up on stage and everything, I had two of my friends as my backing vocalists, and a lot of people commented on how the three of us worked so well together. And hi, John, how are you? And even though the three of us knew each other really well and we worked together a lot, I don't think we'd work together as three. So two of us would work together, then another two, but it was very rare for the three of us to get to work together at the same time. And so many people commented that the combination was really good. And I ended up starting a new group called the Swell Sisters, which is a 60s kind of girl group cabaret show. And we've done a lot of really fun things. We did the opening ceremony of kind of a... I can't even remember what it's called. I think the poster is near me somewhere. No, can't see it. It's like a little mini Olympic Games for non-professional sports people, and it's a national thing where, you know, thousands and thousands of people go. And we did the opening ceremony in Alice Springs, which was so much fun. We also performed the opening ceremony of the Music Awards in Sydney, so, you know, ACE Awards. So we've done some, you know, really, really fun stuff. And I thought I'd show you just a little clip. And I could show you some live stuff that we did, but instead I'm going to show you a photo shoot that we did, because I think you really get the idea of what the Swell Sisters is all about. Because even though it's partly about 60s music and 60s clothes and all those beautiful harmonies, I think it's about the cheekiness largely. So this is a behind the scenes of a photo shoot that we did. And can I say, the third girl in this particular clip changed because one of the girls that was in that original lineup ended up moving to London. She's back now, but this is the girl who replaced her. So the other two girls, Jo Elms, you'll hear me talk about Jo a lot, one of my besties, and we work together a lot. And another one of my besties is Robin Luau. Australians might know Robin because she was actually in a very famous girl group in the 90s called Girlfriend. And she then had her own solo career, you know, and had a lot of hits on Triple J and all that kind of thing. So you might recognise her.
Are we smiling or Bruce feeling? My guy, get your money, tell me more than met today. Show the trust.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. That was serious, Christy.
Oh, weren't we cheeky? Well, not past tense, we still are. The three of us get together and you just don't know what's going to happen, especially on stage. Some crazy things have happened. And I think people pretty much hire us for our cheekiness in that show. That's the Swell Sisters. So we haven't got any gigs coming up because we tend to do bigger events and there's not so many big events going around at the moment. Although we're getting back on our feet here in Sydney. So I really wish that for you all listening because I know everybody is in different places, but we're in a particularly good one. Touch wood. Anything can change and we've seen that happen. I discovered this photo I wanted to show you. Check this out. You're just going to say, so it's a guy maybe in bed, hospital bed. Have you seen this? So that's what you're going to say, right? Just, yeah, so what? He's some dude in a hospital bed. Well, check this out. This. Yes, I hope I haven't put you off your morning tea or your dinner time. Crazy, isn't it? This is actually these are some pictures from a film clip. The name of the band is Slow Thai, as in SLOWTHIAI, Thai as in, Thai culture, Thai food. And basically he got some amazing cake designer to create people. And there's even a baby made of cake and it's kind of horrible but wonderful at the same time, but such a clever film clip. And I saw the first photo and kind of thought, why is my friend posting that? I mean, I hope none of her, friends are in hospital or whatever. And then I saw this second picture. Oh my goodness, how clever is it? Anyway, I had to share it because I thought kind of made me smile, kind of made me laugh, kind of made me cringe at the same time, but you got to love a bit of that. Anything that makes you react at all, I think is good. That's what music's all about, right? It's there to move us. Well, I'm going to finish with a song that has been done by many people. I know you'll tell me, and you probably know better than me. Bob Dylan did it originally. It's been done by so many people. The version that I like is Dolly Parton. Don't you love Dolly? Oh, just love Dolly. But I thought I'd better do something a little bit folky and a bit protesty since, the 60s music is well known for its protest songs. You think we're related, Duncan? I don't know if you're joking or not. I'm going to have to check out that link. It's quite possible because, as I said, I do have Irish ancestry. I'm probably related to just about everyone, though, because I've got so much of a mixed multicultural background, probably like many of us. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Yes, and how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sands? Yes, and how many times must a cannonball fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till we know too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. march to the sea. Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head, pretending he just can't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yeah, Bob Dylan indeed. And I think it really sums up the 60s and the, protest movements. But look, we're doing plenty of our protests of our own at the moment. So I feel like, we've kind of come back around, and just like the fashion comes back, I think the music and the impetus for the music does as well. Oh, it's one of your mum's favourite, Duncan. Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you so much for seeing me today. I was going to say for joining me. You are joining me. I just can't see you. I wish someone would invent, I suppose Zoom is it, where everybody pops up and you actually can see everybody. But anyway, I'm very pleased to have you here, and I will be here next week. The 60s I do adore, but I've got to say, if I liked a decade better, it's probably the 70s. So I will be, don't ever go to the hospital in Thailand. No, I have been to Thailand many times, but I try to avoid the hospitals when I'm there. Everybody have a fabulous week. Thank you again. So yeah, I will be back with the 70s next week. Oh, by the way, before I go, I have put in the date for the launch of the official launch, as in the launch event, launch party of Wallflower. Obviously, Wallflower is available. Many of you already have it. It's already available on CD and download. I actually got very fortunate to be signed to an American label for the vinyl, and they're in production now. And just to be safe, I wanted at the launch the vinyl to be available too. So that's why I've held it off, as well as the fact that hopefully by July, everybody will be out and about more. And so it will be a concert live in the city at the Civic for the Sydney people, but it will be an online event as well. And I'm not going to release tickets quite yet, but very soon. But it's July 22. It's a Thursday night for me. And that will make it, I guess, if it's a strange time for you, it's okay. If you get the live stream ticket, you can watch it for quite a while later. So if you can't be there live, you can still watch it later at a decent time, because I know sometimes it's not very friendly time for you, but I really appreciate you coming out in the middle of the night or whenever it is for you. It's just a pleasure for me, and I'm really grateful. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.